Hey guys, we're going to go over lesson 13's homework. So first we're going to cross out some problems that we don't need to do for this homework just because we don't study those denominators. So we're going to cross out B on numbers 1 and 2 just like this. And then we are also going to cross out all of 3 and 4 just because we don't study those denominators in 4th grade and we need to focus on the ones that we are supposed to be studying. So we're going to cross those out. You can do them for extra practice if you'd like, but I'm not going to go over them in this video. Okay, so let's get back to the page we're supposed to be on. All right, number 1, it says place the following fractions on the number line given. Now this number line is different than before because it is 1, 1.5, and 2. Now 3 halves we should know is the same thing as 1.5 because if I had 3 halves it's 1 whole and then an extra half. So I'm going to plot that on the number line right here under 1.5. Okay, and then let's look at 14 tenths. Now that's a little weird, but really 10 tenths would be a whole, and then it would be 4 tenths left over, just like we did in the lesson. 4 tenths, I could break that up into 10 tenths and 4 tenths, and that 10 tenths is the same thing as 1. So really 14 tenths is equivalent to 1 and 4 tenths. Now that's a little bit less than 1.5 because 1 and 5 tenths would be 1.5. So I'm going to put 1 and 4 tenths, or 14 tenths, right here in front of 1.5. So that's where they would be on the number line. Okay, now if you look at number 2, it says use the number line in problem 1 to compare the fractions using greater than, less than, or equal to on the lines. Now these are two numbers that we didn't plot, but we're going to use what we know. So it's asking which is greater, or if it's equal, 1 and 1/6 and then 1 and 4 tenths. Well, let's see compared to the other fractions where 1 and 1/6 would be on the number line. Well, 1 and 1/6, 1 and 3/6 would be the same as 1.5. So 1 and 1/6 would probably be pretty close to 1 because it's only 1/6 greater than a whole. Now 1 and 4 tenths, I'm sorry, not 4 tenths, 4 twelfths. 1 and 4 twelfths, really 4 twelfths, if we find an equivalent fraction that's easier to deal with, is the same thing as 1 and 1/3 because 4 twelfths is also equivalent to a third. And we know that a 6 is smaller than a third, so 1 and 1/3 should be somewhere around here. So that means that 1 and 4 twelfths is going to be larger than 1 and 1/6. Okay, on page 2, you're going to cross out A and F. And then let's look at B. It says 6 tenths compared to 5/6. Now 6 tenths is really close to a half because 5 tenths is half. And 5/6 is really close to 1 because it's only 1/6 away. So 1 is bigger than a half, so we're going to assume that 5/6 is greater than 6 tenths. Here we have 6/4, which is bigger than 1 because 4/4 is 1. 7/8 is less than 1, so now we know that 6/4 is greater than 7/8. On D, we have 1/4. We have 8/12. Now that's a little bit weird to think about what that really means, but if you think about 8/12, and I thought about an equivalent fraction that might be easier to compare, if we did what we've done before and I divided the top and the bottom by the same number, so let's just do 4, I would get 2/3. So 8/12 is equivalent to 2/3. Well, 2/3 is definitely bigger than 1/4, so we're going to say that 8/12 is larger than 1/4. Okay, on E we have 14/12 and then 11/6. Well, 11/6 is almost 2 because if I had 12/6, that would be 2. So look, if I broke down 11/6, I could break it into 5/6 and 6/6. So it's a whole 1 and 5/6. That's really close to 2. 14/12 though, when I break that up, I get 12/12 for the whole and 2/12. So that's really only 1 and 2/12. So 11/6 is a lot closer to 2, so we're going to say that that's greater. All right, let's look at G. 7/8 and 11/10. 11/10 is greater than 1 and 7/8 is less, so obviously 11/10 is going to be larger. Same thing here. 3/4 is less than 1 and 4/3 is more. Okay, and then we have 3/8 and 4, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. It's 3/8 is less than 3 halves because 3 halves is greater than 1. Okay, now we have 9/6 and we have 14/12. 9/6, if we break it down, it's going to be 6/6 and 3/6. So really it's 1 and 3/6. If we break down 16/12, I'm going to get 12/12 and 4/12. which is 1 and 4/12, which is a little bit less than 1.5 because a half would be 6/12, whereas 9/6 is exactly 1.5. And so that means that 9/6 is going to be greater than 14/12. All right, thanks guys.